A land divided. The aftermath of the Yom Kippur War. The Yom Kippur War of 1973 left the Middle East smoldering, with cities and landscapes bearing the scars of intense battles. Syria and Israel, locked in a bitter struggle over the Golan Heights, were devastated by the conflict, with both sides suffering heavy casualties and significant material losses. The Golan Heights, a strategic plateau overlooking northern Israel, had been captured by Israel from Syria in the Six-Day War of 1967, adding to the region's historical tensions. This territory became a major point of contention between the two nations, symbolizing the broader Arab-Israeli conflict. The 1973 war, launched by Egypt and Syria in a coordinated surprise attack, aimed to reclaim the territories lost to Israel in 1967, catching Israel off guard. While the war ended in a military stalemate, it left deep scars and a volatile situation on the Golan Heights, with both sides maintaining a heavy military presence. The international community, recognizing the need for a peaceful resolution, pushed for a negotiated settlement between the warring parties, hoping to bring stability to the region. The United Nations played a crucial role in mediating a ceasefire and initiating talks between Syria and Israel, striving to prevent further bloodshed. The world watched with bated breath, hoping for a lasting peace to emerge from the ashes of war. As news of the negotiations spread globally, the shadow of conflict still loomed large, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the region, with tensions simmering just below the surface. Seeking peace on the Golan Heights, a region marked by conflict and historical significance. The 1974 Disengagement Agreement was a pivotal moment in Middle Eastern history. In May 1974, after months of tense and often grueling negotiations, a glimmer of hope emerged on the horizon. Israel and Syria, under the auspices of the United Nations, signed the Disengagement Agreement, marking a significant step towards peace. This landmark agreement aimed to disengage the Israeli and Syrian armies, which were still entrenched along the tense ceasefire lines established after the 1973 war. The agreement, seen as a crucial step towards a more comprehensive peace settlement, was met with cautious optimism by the international community, who hoped for lasting peace. It represented a commitment by both sides to resolve their long-standing differences through dialogue rather than violence, a significant shift in approach. The agreement's primary objective was to prevent further bloodshed and create an environment conducive to future peace talks, fostering hope for a stable future. The Disengagement Agreement was a testament to the tireless efforts of the United Nations and the willingness of both Israel and Syria to find common ground, despite their differences. It was a beacon of hope in a region plagued by conflict, demonstrating that even the most intractable disputes could be addressed through diplomacy and negotiation, offering a path forward. Lines in the sand, the buffer zone, and the UNDOF. A key element of the 1974 Disengagement Agreement was the creation of a demilitarized buffer zone along the Golan Heights. This agreement was a significant step towards reducing tensions in a region that had seen intense conflict. This zone, separating Israeli and Syrian forces, aimed to reduce the risk of accidental clashes and prevent a resumption of hostilities. By creating a physical separation, it provided a measure of security and stability for both sides. The agreement stipulated the withdrawal of both armies from a designated area, creating a buffer zone patrolled by a specially created United Nations peacekeeping force, the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, or UNDOF. This force was essential in maintaining the terms of the agreement. The UNDOF, composed of soldiers from various neutral countries, was tasked with monitoring the ceasefire, ensuring the disengagement of forces, and preventing violations of the agreement. Their presence was crucial in maintaining a fragile peace. The presence of UNDOF peacekeepers on the Golan Heights served as a visible symbol of the international community's commitment to maintaining peace in the region. Their blue helmets became a familiar sight, representing hope and stability. Their mandate, renewed annually by the UN Security Council, highlighted the ongoing need for a peacekeeping presence to prevent the escalation of tensions between Israel and Syria. This annual renewal underscored the importance of their mission and the delicate balance they helped to maintain. A strategic prize, Israel's hold on the Golan Heights. Despite the agreement and the creation of the buffer zone, the issue of the Golan Heights itself remained a major point of contention. Israel, citing security concerns and the strategic importance of the heights, refused to fully withdraw from the territory it had captured in 1967. The Golan Heights, overlooking northern Israel, gave Israel a significant strategic advantage. From this vantage point, Israel could monitor Syrian military movements and defend against potential attacks. Israel argued that returning the Golan Heights to Syria would leave it vulnerable and undermine its security. Israel's insistence on retaining control of the Golan Heights became a major obstacle to a comprehensive peace agreement with Syria. Syria, for its part, demanded the full return of the Golan Heights as a precondition for any peace deal. The issue of the Golan Heights became a symbol of the complex and deeply rooted nature of the Israeli-Syrian conflict. In 1981, Israel's decision to formally annex the Golan Heights drew widespread international condemnation. The United Nations Security Council declared the annexation null and void, and most countries refused to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the territory. The international community viewed the annexation as a violation of international law and a serious impediment to the peace process. The United States, while a staunch ally of Israel, also initially criticized the annexation and did not recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. However, in a significant policy shift, the United States under President Donald Trump in 2019 recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. This move, breaking with decades of U.S. policy and international consensus, was hailed by Israel but condemned by Syria and much of the international community. Section 6, A Power Vacuum, The Fall of Bashar al-Assad. Fast forward to December 2024. Rumors swirl through the Middle East, whispered in hushed tones and amplified by panicked social media posts. Bashar al-Assad, the embattled president of Syria, has fled Damascus. While official confirmations remain elusive, the very possibility sends shockwaves through the region. For years, Assad had clung tenaciously to power, even as his country was ravaged by civil war. Now, with his grip on power seemingly slipping, a dangerous power vacuum emerges in Syria. The international community watches with a mixture of apprehension and uncertainty. The situation is volatile, unpredictable. The fragile peace that had held on the Golan Heights for decades is suddenly thrown into jeopardy. Section 7, Israel's response, military action, and Netanyahu's declarations. In the wake of Assad's rumored departure, Israel springs into action. Citing heightened security concerns and the need to prevent chaos from spilling across its border, Israeli defense forces launch airstrikes on targets within Syria. The strikes, according to Israeli officials, target military installations and weapons depots belonging to Iranian-backed militias operating in southern Syria. These groups, allied with the Assad regime, pose a direct threat to Israel's security, particularly in the absence of a clear governing authority in Damascus. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a televised address to the nation, adopts a hawkish tone. He declares that Israel will not tolerate any threats to its security and will take all necessary measures to protect its citizens. He reiterates Israel's claim to the Golan Heights, asserting that it will remain under Israeli control forever. Section 8, The Future of the Golan Heights, A Looming Conflict? Israel's actions and Netanyahu's pronouncements raise serious concerns about the future of the Golan Heights and the wider region. The situation is fraught with danger, as any miscalculation or escalation could ignite a larger conflict. With Assad's fate unknown and Syria teetering on the brink, the Golan Heights once again becomes a focal point of tension. Israel, fearing the emergence of a hostile entity on its border, appears determined to maintain its military presence and control over the territory. The international community, divided and seemingly powerless to influence events, can only watch and wait. The 1974 Disengagement Agreement, once a symbol of hope, now appears increasingly fragile in the face of renewed instability and uncertainty. Section 9. Conclusion. The fragile peace and uncertain future. The future of the Golan Heights remains uncertain, a microcosm of the broader turmoil that continues to plague the Middle East. The 1974 Disengagement Agreement, while a testament to the possibility of diplomacy, has been repeatedly tested by the vagaries of regional politics and the enduring animosity between Israel and Syria. The fall of Bashar al-Assad, if confirmed, would mark a seismic shift in the region's power dynamics. It could usher in a new era of instability and conflict, with the Golan Heights once again becoming a battleground for control and influence. As the world watches and waits, one thing is certain. The road to peace in the Middle East remains long and arduous, paved with the broken promises of the past and the looming shadows of future conflict.